Two old guys that ain't taking their crap no more. You're listening to Earl and George.
Well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Earl and George, the last show of the year, and the first one in a while. We've been all over the place.
The end of the year is always crazy.
It is, with the holidays and me being sick for like a month.
And then, you threw your back out, too, or something.
My back was gone. It was bad. So, welcome back to Earl and George. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, you got the notification that we are back up today, and you're tuning in from all across the country. Thank you guys so much who listen and who have been downloading and listening, wondering where we were. We were partying, and then we were holidaying, and then we were sick, and now we're not anymore. So we're back. How you been, man?
I've been all right. I'm staying above water, so that's good.
I'm finally coming out of it. My back is getting better.
Right.
I had a severe chest cold for a while. The weather turned, and you could just barely hear the sinuses in my voice. But
knock on wood, I haven't been sick this winter.
Lucky you.
Yep.
Lucky you. Mr. Producer, how are you, buddy? As he glamorizes his own tattoo.
I just got it yesterday.
He's like, look at my tattoo on my giant giant bicep.
It's not that giant, but
so
it's
what's
all right.
going to happen when you're like
Completely
70?
covered?
Those tattoos are still going to look awesome.
When at 70?
Oh, yeah.
A little wrinkly.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about people who get so many, because you have tats, you're totally like sleeved
I got tattoos everywhere but my arms.
I have no tattoos.
Yeah, I've got a few.
You got knuckle tattoos and everything. I just when I'm like 70 and they're like, Grandpa,
Your arms are flabby.
Grandpa, what is this? Why do you have so many tattoos? How do you feel about the people with gauges and all this other stuff on their face? And
Well, at 70, I don't think it's going to
cool
look
at 28.
good. All right.
But that doesn't go away. That stays with you.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Sylvester Stallone. His whole back is tatted up, and he still looks fine.
Yeah, but I don't see his back. It's not like I walk around going, hey, look, Sylvester Stallone's back. Just all the time.
Well, in just about every movie, he's got his shirt off, so you get to see his tats.
No, I'm not buying it. But anyway, it's good to be back. It is the last show of 2017. We're going to do a wrap-up show today of what we think are some of the biggest articles, news stories that came out in 2017. And there were lots.
Yes, there were.
We started the show, July,
I think it was
August?
the end of July, 1st of August.
So we don't really have a full year under our belt, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about all the morons in Congress and in the federal government that
FBI.
the FBI, the science community. We're going to branch out today from politics. For those of you just joining us, Earl and George. My name is George. This is my friend Earl.
How you doing?
Mr. Producer's in the fishbowl in there. We broadcast from the great state of Alabama. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir.
And we broadcast each week. At least we try to do each week when we're able.
Schedule permitting.
On our podcast, but you can download the Earl and George mobile app and listen to all of our past episodes. Also broadcast live on Spreaker, and we are working on some affiliates across the country. So we're open to branch out. So if you happen to know anybody that owns a radio station and wants a really crappy political show on weekends, just let us know.
Send them our way.
Yeah, just send them our way.
EarlandGeorge.com.
EarlandGeorge.com. And by the way, we're just two dudes, okay? Neither one of us are lawyers.
Nope.
Neither one of us. How far did you go in college? Do you have a bachelor's degree?
Yeah, I graduated college.
Okay, so I graduated college too, but mine was applied science.
Mine was actually going to be law, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did it end up being?
It ended up being marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah.
So you have a marketing guy and you've got a physicist, and neither one of us. You're not a marketing guy, and I'm not a physicist, so that's how that works. But we do have something that is lacking in American culture, and that's called common sense.
Indeed.
And also the ability to back up our views with logic and command of the English language. So that's basically what Earl and George is. We're just two dudes from Alabama.
Plus, we've been alive for a while.
Well, yes, we have. I would say
Life
that
experiences.
I would say that I'm in the middle of my life.
Nah, you're not in the middle.
No,
aren't we living? Well, yeah.
100.
Yeah.
I'm pushing there. I'm 40. I turn 48 next year. Wow. I turned 48 in 4 months. 40 freaking 8 years old, man.
Yeah.
There are days when I feel like I'm 20. There are days when I feel like I'm 90.
Right.
I'm at that point.
Especially in the cold weather.
Oh man, don't my knees are like, what are you doing? Move to Florida already.
Oh, don't give up. Don't give
So
up.
hopefully you guys had a great holiday. I'm going to say Merry Christmas to all of my friends that celebrated Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to all my friends who celebrated Hanukkah. And if you celebrated other than those two, may it be a merry and happy whatever holiday you celebrated.
It's a made-up holiday.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, we'll talk about that later. There was obviously this year not a whole lot of the whole Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays fight. It just seemed like it just went away to me.
Well, President Trump kind of ignited it by
He's-
sending out
well,
a tweet.
yeah,
He said,
he's-
people are happy to say Merry Christmas, and I did that.
Well, the thing is, did you really focus on Christmas this year?
No.
Like, I didn't either. It
I
just
don't-
kind of came and went. It
Yeah.
just went. It was like a passing wind. It wasn't really that moment. And I love Christmas. I love the music, and I love the cold weather, and I love the family togetherness, and I get all. And this year was just kind of like meh. It just was like whatever.
Yep.
So I didn't really get into it this year. Not that I get into it a lot, but it just
Was
it
a
is what
down
it is.
year.
It was a down year. Plus, I also have about 100 billion other things going on.
Right.
That trying to stay above water.
It was like a week before Christmas, and my wife is like, "Are you going to be here for Christmas? Because it's next week." And I'm like, "What? When did that
what?
happen?"
So that's what's going on. And trying to too many Facebook pages. I got to get rid of some of my Facebook pages. I got too many of them. I got to start paring down there.
How many do you have?
Let's see. Would you want the entire list? Because
Let me see how many I got.
okay, ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Don't count ours.
6. Don't count ours.
Yeah, don't count Earl and George. 'cause
Okay,
that's a
1,
given.
2, 3. What about EF official? What about the EG official?
Yeah.
Don't count those?
No, count that one.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, I'm not doing that one. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
I'm at 32.
Well, now are they actually your
Yeah.
pages?
Yeah,
Okay,
they're not client
I'm
pages.
at 23.
Yeah, I'm at 32.
That's how bad we are. This is what we do. How many of those are making us money? That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, you and I are trying to do a mobile app thing, which
Yep.
we've been talking about for a year, and trying to do all kinds of other stuff. I'm trying to start 5 other businesses, and thank you, Secretary of State, for screwing that up. Appreciate that, John
Well,
Merrill and your staff.
You're going to have to
Can't-
tell me that one.
John Merrill, yes, Secretary of State. I will call you out on the radio, and you need to get your head out of your backside. Just get it done, sir.
I got to know this one.
Uh,
You better tell me off there.
The lawyers got involved, and I had to pay more money, and I don't even want to talk about it. Anyway,
I got to know.
and all
I
my
got
business
to
partners
know.
are like, they're like, what's holding you up? What's holding
Oh, is
you
this
up?
the thing you were telling me
Yeah,
about?
it's-
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I got sued twice.
Really?
Yeah. So I got 3 lawsuits this year. Telling you, man. Yeah, this is the life.
Well, I'm currently
I'm living the dream right now, baby.
I'm suing people because they owe me money, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I owe them money, so they're suing me, which
Right.
is okay. I'm going to pay them.
Well, I owe people money, but I owe people money because I haven't been paid from these
Exactly.
people. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. I got a book done. I got the whole book series done that I was working
The
on
whole
for the audio.
series?
I got the whole series done.
Nice.
And she's giving me another book, which is due out in February, and I got to start recording that. So
Nice.
again, this is our life, ladies and gentlemen. It's Earl and George. It's aged conservative talk, and let's finally get into it after we take this break. It was just nice to kind of get back into the swing of doing radio. Thank you guys for joining us. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter and all the other stuff that we do. When we come back, I'm just going to go down the list. The 2017 year in review. I'm going to start. I just made a list of stuff to talk about, and then we'll throw those topics out there and start discussing those and see how they evolved through the year. You can join us 800-684-9925, or you can also text us at Spreaker.com. It's Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. We'll be right back.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, you, over yonder. You're listening to Earl and George.
The 2017 is over.
Goodbye.
I leave for San Francisco tomorrow on the 31st. I've never traveled over New Year's.
Oh, man, the airport's going to be a blast.
However, I travel first class and usually hang out in the Delta Lounge, so I'm not going to really see a lot of that stuff. I'm the first guy off the plane. I'm the first guy on the plane. I go right to the Delta Lounge, and I have free drinks. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I'm like Tim Allen, or Tim Cook now.
You have your own plane.
Well,
Or your corporate, your company has a
Yeah,
plane.
yeah.
Why don't I use your plane? Why can't you fly me to
Because of insurance.
Oh, bull crap.
No, seriously, it comes down to insurance.
No,
If some-
seriously, just make me a friggin' employee, make me an executive. Put me on the board.
But if something happens to you on the plane, then
I'm a board member of the company.
Your family can come after us. So
Oh,
it's
like my
yeah.
wife's going to know. She can't spell Sue.
Damn.
What? What? It's true.
I'm not getting into that one.
Okay, so 2017 year in review. By the way, we took a cruise about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
My wife's been off since then. Because she runs one of my companies.
Right.
Since we left on that cruise, since we got back, she hadn't done jack. She's been sitting on the couch. I'm not kidding you.
Good for
Now,
her.
great, she's been sick for a couple weeks, but seriously.
Good for her. That means you.
I asked her yesterday, I said, do you still work for me? That's what I said yesterday.
What was her answer?
She said yes. I said, do you still work for me? She said, yes. And I said, then I need you to get healthy and get back to work.
See, if I even came close to asking my wife something like this, my wife's Latina, so she'd beat the hell out of me just for even asking.
I'm fed up. I need my business is failing because I'm not here to run this specific business 24/7, and it requires somebody here 24/7, and that person is sitting on the couch watching Ancient Aliens, right? Yesterday I came to a head. I was like, honey, do you still work for me? Yes. Okay, I need you to get better and get back to work. Thanks. Love you. Let's do this. And I pay her well. I mean, when it comes down to it,
Right.
I pay her really well to run this company. So, okay, 2017 year in review. I'm going to go right off. I just made a random list. This is not in any order. Okay, I just started thinking about stuff that happened in 2017. The removal of Confederate statues, culture war in America.
That was huge.
Now we had, there was a huge debate about Confederate soldiers and the argument of the class of racism that it portrayed, and how the Confederate movement was all about slavery, and we need to stop memorializing it. And they're still doing it, by the way. They're still removing these Confederate statues, but that's kind of gone away in the news. But that led me down to a culture war mentality that we have in America now in 2017. We have a war between, and I don't want to make it a white or black thing, but because it really comes down to a mentality of victim, right? And a mentality of non-victim. I'm not a victim, okay, right? So when I see this culture clash come together, and it always ends up being a white versus other thing. And that's kind of the sad point is on the news, and they will then drive that feeling of it's whites against everybody, brown versus white, right?
Yep.
How do we solve that? How do we fix that mentality of it's not us versus you? It's not brown people versus white people. It's not the Confederate statue had been standing there since whenever they put it up in 1913, and only now in 2017 America, with Donald Trump being the president, does that become a problem?
Well, it's because they
Had Hillary Clinton been elected, it wouldn't have been a problem. I guarantee you.
Yeah, they labeled President Trump a racist from the get-go because of the way he does his hands. You know how when he talks, he does his hands like this. They say that's white power.
The symbol
of white power, yeah. And it sparked up again with the picture, the Christmas picture that the White House put out from all of their people. There's a dude up in the top right that they zoomed in on who was doing the exact same thing. And they're like, look, he's doing the white power. When I grew up, this meant okay.
That means okay.
Yeah, how are you doing? I'm okay. Now it supposedly means white power.
Right, but what about all the gang signs that you see them throwing all the stuff with the fingers in the air and all that? West Side.
Actually, this is actually blood too, so it's closely related.
This is blood. That we're okay. This means okay. Are you okay? I'm okay.
Or you could always go like that.
That means the number 3 to me,
right?
Because in the military, you don't do 3 with your index finger.
You go like
do
that.
3 with your pinky. That you do 3. That's 3.
Right.
But President Trump doesn't do that. He does. I thought he did his middle finger. I think he does like this.
Well, he
like
started,
a shocker.
He started doing that.
Could I say? Could I say that on the radio?
I don't know. I mean, you just did, but
when he was campaigning, it was always and he pinched him. And now
he does do this.
Yeah.
Oh, and he does this a lot. He does the trigger thing,
which is another thing that set people off. But
what Trump hands gestures say about him from the BBC? Oh, this ought to be a good article. And it's audio. So let me see if I can get this audio here.
But the whole, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the whole
whitewashing
believe
me.
is what got us talking about doing this show. Was right around the time they started doing the removal of the Confederate monuments. That's when we were both like, "Hey, we need to talk about this."
Let's see what this says. I got nothing. I got that plugged in there. I got that plugged in there. I got that plugged in there. Where's this one go? Yep.
I got you potted up.
You got me an audition?
Mm-hmm.
You better not be in program.
Yep. Oh.
I don't think he's been coached
Here we
heavily
go.
on his body language. And people pick up on that in an instant.
Do we?
They
Yeah, he
pick
does
up
this
his
thing.
offense.
He does the okay with his hands. Oh, he does this a lot.
Yeah.
The lash and
This is
pinch.
his bass line. It's kind of an alternating.
Where's that music coming
Okay,
from?
I don't know.
Is it this?
I think it's the actual.
Yeah, when you paused it.
Yeah. So he does the okay.
Right.
And then he does this a lot. He does the reverse of the okay, which is just the index finger.
Yeah, he's like,
right?
huge.
It's huge.
Hand gesture.
Oh, yeah, and he'll do the gun, the loser,
Right.
the loser symbol.
With an L shape. So it's right here. It looks precise.
right now.
Not wishy-washy. He's got this nailed.
And he does it over and over and over. He's got the hands, the palms out. Then he'll go to this one. Then he'll go to this one. Then he'll go to this one. Then he'll go back to the palms out.
All in the same speech.
All in the same speech. He goes,
People are shocked.
He uses this as cautionary.
The palms. The
Look
palms.
out. This is a tough competitor. Or he'll say, we don't know what's going to happen here. This scary?
yeah, it's scary?
It looks like, whoa,
It
hold him
scares
back.
people,
It's
yeah.
defensive.
Oh, when he puts his palms out? Palms out is scary, apparently. This is stupid.
Don't people
Right.
that use their hands while they're talking just mean that they're actually believing what they say and kind of adding
I don't
on
know.
emphasis and stuff?
I don't know, but if you're going to read that,
Pretty
what do I say with my hands?
Well, I mean, if you talk with your hands and stuff, you never heard of that? Kind of.
But that right there led into, I think. Okay, well, I'm just going to take a step back here. That was all backlash. It was all backlash for losing the election. That's
Right.
all that was. And they turned that anger toward inanimate objects, called them racist, right? Said that they had racist connotations, and then defaced public property. And there was that one woman who got in trouble. Didn't she go to jail for it?
Yeah, but then they got mad too when President Trump wouldn't come out and condemn the Charlottesville things, and when he said that.
Oh, Charlottesville! I didn't even write that down.
Yeah, when he said that's kind of what sparked it all was
Yeah.
Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And when he said that there was bad on both sides, people didn't like that. They wanted him to just condemn the neo-Nazis, and there was aggression on both sides. It's been proven by the DOJ now and by the local police department that both sides were the aggressors. But and then they got mad at him over that. But they got mad at him back in his campaign when David Duke said that he endorsed him, and they were like, "Oh,
Well, I'll just jump right out and say it. We are not on this show going to endorse neo-Nazi beliefs or behavior.
no."
But I'm also not going to take away their First Amendment right to protest in the street.
right.
They have the right to say what they want, no matter how much I don't like what they say. You don't have the right to create violence, whether you're Antifa or whether you're the neo-Nazis.
Right.
I'm not going to support either one of those organizations.
Right.
But I'm also not going to take away their First Amendment right to say what's on their minds. If the neo-Nazis want to walk around and talk about how bad blacks and Jews are, even though most of my friends are black and Jewish, that's fine. Doesn't hurt me. Your words don't hurt me. Your actions, on the other hand, if you become violent, I have the right to defend myself.
Yeah, because you're breaking the law at that point.
Just like Antifa and their purple baseball bats.
And their masks.
Now, that's something different.
Well, yeah, completely. But that's what the whole thing's, that's when they really started labeling President Trump a racist, was when he wouldn't condemn the actions. And it wasn't like he was arguing for them. He said there was bad on both ends.
Sides, yeah.
He wasn't condemning one or the other. He was actually technically condemning them both, saying they were both acting stupid.
He was condemning the violence.
Right.
He wanted them to condemn the organization.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. Since we've had a year of this presidency so far, and
I've
we've
enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed the hell out of it. From a conservative standpoint, President Trump, barring what he needs Congress to do, has done everything he said he was going to do.
Right.
From my standpoint, a lot of stuff he can't get Congress to do. That's fine.
Yeah, the tax bill took a little longer than I would have wanted.
But watching through the year of this culture war that we're still talking about, has it gone away? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Have they calmed the hell down? Where are we?
I don't think it's gone away, because remember that video we aired of the lady snatching the dude's hat off because it was racist?
The MAGA hat.
Yeah, and she happened to be a Latina.
And she got in trouble for that.
Right, but I mean,
and the person who came out and stole the speech from the conservative speaker on campus. We have a lot of this campus violence.
Yeah.
That's just kids doing stupid stuff. They're trying to be the protest kids of the 60s.
Well, then you got the guy that put the poop on the Treasury Secretary's house. Like how kids
missed that story.
You know how kids used to light poop up and
ding dong ditch.
Yeah, and you'd have to stomp it out, and you'd
put a paper bag put a paper bag of poo.
Yeah, it was.
Do they still do that?
Mnuchin. They put it on Mnuchin's house in Beverly Hills, and the guy came out and said that he did it because of a First Amendment protest.
Why doesn't Mnuchin live in a gated community?
He does.
So it was somebody in the gated community.
No, the guy completely disregarded the law and trespassed on private property to do it. Not only was it...
Wait. So it was a grown man who crapped in a paper bag, snuck into a gated community...
And then went over Mnuchin's gate.
And he probably has his own fence.
Right.
And then ding-dong ditched... Dude, that's a grown man. That right there epitomizes the entire Democratic Party.
Yeah, he's been hailed as a hero because he did that. He's got a book offer already.
Really?
Yeah.
That right there.
Yeah, and The View's interviewing him after the first.
That right there is the epitome of the Democratic Party to me.
Wow.
If you will take your hard-earned time, which time is money,
right,
to crap in a bag, set it on fire, climb over people's walls and through their into their private property, to set it on fire,
right,
and then run away, that's the Democratic Party right there. Think about how much that works in every situation. In every situation the liberals get involved in, you could bring it back to setting a bag of crap on fire and running away.
I didn't think of it.
Seriously.
Yep. That's a good point.
That's the entire liberal policy right now. You don't like us? It's fine. We're going to set a bag full of crap on fire on your front porch and run away. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to get a book deal. I'll be on The View.
Yep. 15 minutes of fame.
Okay. 2017 in review. I think we've just hit up on something. I'm going to make a T-shirt now. The liberal agenda: crap, fire, a burning bag of crap. We'll be right back. It's Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. Tell your friends and tell your neighbors on Facebook. It's Earl and George and EarlandGeorge.com. Yes, the store is out there. Nobody has really gotten stuff because we really don't have anything to sell yet, but it's coming eventually. 2018 is a year of growth for Earl and George. We'll be right back to continue our year in review.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
Welcome back to the Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Chris, you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
There's your comic book collection, the race car bed.
I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I'm taking control over my financial life, and that feels pretty grown up to me.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Are those footy pajamas?
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Mama was always right, 'cause she said so. You're listening to Earl and George.
2017 year in review from Earl and George, aged conservative talk. You know, on Etsy, the pussy hats are on sale. And that's what they're called, by the way. I'm not saying anything negative or derogatory.
Right.
That's actually what they're called. By the way, is it because they have little cat ears? Is that why they're called that? They're called pussy hats. But that became the rallying cry basically for everyone in America, every liberal in America with a vagina. That became the rallying cry, and I got stuck in San Luis. No, was I in San Luis Obispo? I was in Los Osos, California, just south of Morro Bay, where my sister lives. My wife and I were out there visiting on the day of the protest.
Wow.
Of the nasty woman protest in Los Osos, California. Now they used to sell for $30. But in of course good traditional capitalist society, they're now down to $8. So if you want to get a pussy hat, now's the time for all you liberal feminists to cover your hair with a pussy hat. Congratulations.
There's also the Pussy Hat Project.
Pussy Hat Project.
They're
yes.
going to be marching
they're
January 20th.
doing it again.
Yeah, 2018.
And all of that came crashing down in their face because of, what was her name again?
Ashley
Judd. The nasty woman thing.
Yeah, I'm a nasty woman.
When then it all came out that hashtag Me Too was named Person of the Year by Time Magazine.
Really?
Yeah.
The hashtag.
Now,
wow.
Those of us on the right, on the conservative side of the aisle, just want to point out a hashtag is not a person.
Can we just agree to that?
We just agree that is, by the way, a business isn't a person either.
Right.
A car is not a person. A giraffe is not a person. A part of speech is not a person. And the pound sign with letters after it's not a person. But it's the person of the year. And they were like, well, we're making a statement about the movement and about women's issues and harassment, which is fine. If we want to have a rational discussion about women's issues and sexual harassment in a society, we can do that. And I'd like to have that debate, being the father of 3 attractive young women who are now 18, 19, and 21. I would love to have that conversation because I don't want them sexually harassed in the workplace. I don't want them sexually harassed, and I don't want them paid less because they have different genitalia than their boss. Okay? So we can have that discussion without a pussy hat.
And I think the same would be true that you would apply that to all women, not just specifically your...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would apply that to all women. However, my mother, she is proud pussy hat wearer. She's, men are bad. We're all sexual harassers. And if you turn on the media today, you will find every single day another sexual harasser in a place of power. Now, what does that tell you, America? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the ones that haven't, the ones that are out there, and it's not just men. They've opened women. They've opened this door up now to where men are going to come forward. Look at Corey Haim. Obviously
Feldman.
his whole thing with Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
And that's going to come forward. Look at Kevin Spacey now had to come out as finally everybody knew it. He came out as gay, and now there's a model out there says that even George Takei was out there trying to sexually harass men.
Right.
Okay, so #MeToo is not just about women, right?
Right.
It's about people who are sexually harassed, but they don't want the men to talk about being sexually harassed.
Did you see where our
by
buddy...
gay men? I was sexually harassed by a gay man a couple months ago. What did I do? I handled the situation. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
And he was my boss. He was a supervisor on a project I was working on. So I understand where they're coming from.
Oh, wow. Yes, sexual harassment at the workplace, too.
Sexual harassment at the workplace on a project that I was working on. Now, could I have made a big deal out of it? No, I dealt with the situation. Why? Because I'm a freaking man.
Right. Well, saying that is, in its sense, sexist.
All of a sudden, I'm sexist. Thank you for bringing that up. I did that for a reason. You see where we have to be. If you want to have the discussion, we can have the discussion.
But they don't. They don't want to discuss. They want
No,
to
they
force
don't.
us. They want to
they
force
don't.
us to their will. Did you see where our buddy Ben Shapiro became a victim of Me Too?
Yes, with Rosie O'Donnell.
Yep, and their Twitter actually had to respond to it, and I think that was because
I didn't see the response.
There were people that were saying, "Oh, Ben is just getting all bent out of shape," and then the people on the left actually started looking at it and said, "No, she really did. She's guilty."
Telling
of
him
this.
to suck her. Whatever.
Yeah, and then they started demanding that Twitter take action, and Twitter took action. I just don't remember
Against
what the
Rosie
action
O'Donnell?
was. Yeah, I think they suspended her for like a day.
Yeah,
but don't quote me on that. I don't remember exactly.
But see, Ben Shapiro is a brilliant strategist.
Yes, he is.
He knows how to turn that around really fast. My whole thing is, it kind of the whole pussy hat movement and the women's nasty woman movement, that all kind of got thrown in their faces when the whole Harvey Weinstein sexual harassment thing started to come out. Right, and you have a laundry list of them from politicians. Is it Conyers? John Conyers?
Yeah.
Al Sharpton. I mean, not Al Sharpton. Al Franken. Excuse me. Sorry, Al Sharpton. You're next week. When those started to come out, then it turns out that nasty woman sweetheart Ashley Judd was one of the people accusing Weinstein for something that happened 25 years ago.
Yeah. But supposedly she's been telling people for years. That's what she said. She said, "I've been telling."
So
people
is Corey Feldman, and nobody takes him seriously.
Yeah, he actually got a little bit of vindication because he said he reported it back in the 90s.
And he did,
yeah,
and L.A. police said they have that story.
Yeah,
because
that made me go, good for him.
Yeah, good for him, absolutely. Then we move into everybody's now looking for the sexual harassment harasser/victim.
Right.
Where every man in America had to stop and look back and say, in the past 30 years, could I have done something that was taken as sexual harassment by someone else, male or female?
Right.
Could I have done anything? Because I don't get to be the person to choose whether I'm harassing you right now, right?
Right.
You get to be the person to choose whether you're a victim or not. You see, the insidiousness nature of that is, I don't know. I know I've done some bad things in my life. I'm just speaking personally for George here. I've done some bad things in my life. I've also done a lot of great things in my life. But I don't get to be the person to choose whether one of my assistants was like, oh, well, George did this on that one day. I had a great example. I think we talked about it, where I hugged the mayor.
Right.
And somebody in a parking lot may have seen that across the street. Oh, there's George hugging the mayor, right? The mayor's a female in our town.
And we're Southern, so we do that a lot.
Right. We're friends.
Right.
But that makes you think, do I run for that office, or are they going to find that one thing that I didn't find?
Right.
Do I start this business, or are people going to come forward and say that I'm now sexually harassing people?
And even if it's not true, I know there's a lot of people that
exactly.
Yeah, that it'll ruin your life.
Thank you, Roy Moore.
Right.
We move into the Roy Moore situation. Now, people say, oh, those are credible allegations. Well, that's what they thought about the Duke accuser as well.
Right. And the chick that Al Sharpton paraded down Harlem back in the 90s, or late 80s, early 90s.
And then you start asking about Bill Clinton and what happened. He was accused of rape. So all these unanswered questions on the left, And on the right, they're absolutely true and accurate because they're conservatives. But on the left, it's like, well,
yeah.
And I have one more point before we go into the next segment here. When you have a credible allegation and you have a credible denial, that's all you have. When there's no presentation of evidence, you have credible allegation and a credible denial. Okay? Both have to be taken as 100% true.
Yep.
There's no way around it, America. There's no way around it. But now the United States of America is now judging people only on the allegation, not on the denial. And that seems to be the new norm.
And it's a dangerous place to be.
And it's dangerous because of this. Because these allegations are now going to be used as political ammunition against the other party, not by alleging impropriety, but by taking a moral high ground against the alleged immorality.
Yeah, it happened in the Senate race.
It's happening right now against the President of the United States. The Democrats were caught. Conyers was caught sexually harassing people. Franken was caught sexually harassing people. Should they have dropped out of the Senate? No, I don't think so, because they had a credible allegation and a credible denial. Now, in the case of Al Franken, we had pictures, but he was a comedian, whatever.
Right.
I'm not saying
it was okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying it was okay. We have a credible allegation and credible denial. The Democrats took the moral high ground, not because they wanted to, but because they realized they could use it as ammunition against Trump, who also has allegations out there against him.
Yeah, they're supposedly filing papers in New York to go after him.
So by telling the two politicians thus far that have been caught that they need to resign, and they are resigning, they can now say, look, we have the moral high ground, and President Trump needs to resign because our guys have resigned.
Although
that's the only reason they're doing it.
Al Franken didn't give an actual date of when he was leaving. Only Conyers was the one that gave a date. He's already gone, I think.
And at the beginning, when Nancy Pelosi was saying that she defended Conyers, then Conyers said, and then she said, no, he needs to go. Conyers' attorney turned around and was like, she doesn't get to tell our senator when he needs to go. The constituents do. So they were actually working on a defense against their own party. And then they had a confab and said, look, we could use this against President Trump. And Conyers said, okay, I'm 87, I'll retire.
And then he nominated his son.
And then he nominated his son.
And his son got arrested for domestic violence right after that.
Are you kidding me? Who nominates their son? That's not the way we do things in America. Let the voters choose. And they'll probably vote because his last name's Conyers.
Right. Well, the one thing that I would say about the whole Me Too thing that I felt really bad about, not that I didn't feel bad about all of them, but the poor Taylor Swift incident where that DJ clearly has his hand either up her skirt or, and I don't know if I could say this on the air, but his fingers were doing clearly something to her because she just looks completely for her to go through that in such a public way. Like the others were attacked, quote unquote, behind closed doors. Hers was out in public, and I really felt bad for her for that.
And she won that case.
Yeah, and only asked for a
dollar.
And the douche paid her with a coin.
Yeah,
yeah,
right. And then she, because she wanted to expose it, and hats off to Taylor Swift for handling that situation. That she won her case. And she opened that door up and say, look, you can't do that. You can't behave that way.
Right.
And we as men need to teach our daughters and our sons.
Yeah.
You can't behave that way. I mean, America, we can't continue down this road. And we're only after 1 year.
Right.
1 year.
And the slippery slope is they said that we're going to have to start asking if we can have sexual relations with people now. Because they're taking it that way too. They're saying,
you always should ask if you should have sexual relations with people.
No, look, when you're playing, when you're making out, things lead to something. They want you to stop and say, "Hey, is it okay that we actually have sex now?" They don't want it to just lead to what it leads to. They're saying that we need to stop in the makeout.
So you have to have a consensual form that both of you sign prior to.
Pretty much. That's what they're.
I've been married for 22 years. My wife walks in and that's Dawn. When we come back, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We will get back to politics. Don't worry. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the science advances in 2017 When we come back, it's Earl and George, aged conservative talk. Don't go anywhere. You might miss something important, like pussy hats on discounts right now on Amazon.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You're listening to Earl and George, aged conservative talk.
2017 year in review from Earl and George, two old guys who aren't taking their crap no more.
I kind of take.
I take a lot of crap. I'll be honest with you.
I take exception to the old guy thing.
Well,
I don't want to. You know, I don't know. It's just like
what's age conservative talk? I don't either.
Right. So
I mean, give it a day or two, and your knees will tell you you're wrong.
I mean, I know I'm old, but at the same time, it's like, don't call me old. Anyway.
So for the first time in history of the world, we have created a new form of matter in 2017.
Really?
It's called a time crystal.
Oh, I heard about this. I didn't read about it, though.
Let me see if I can, scientists, let's see.
A different kind of matter? Is that what you said?
Yep. The time crystal breaks time symmetry.
Dude.
Yep. Time crystals were first proposed in 2012 by Nobel laureate Frank Wilczek. Last year, theoretical physicists in Princeton University and USC Santa Barbara independently proved that such a crystal could be made.
And we've done it.
The time crystal, created by Chris Monroe and his colleagues at the University of Maryland, employs a conga line of 10 ytterbium ions. Look, I'll spell it for y'all. You can't say it either. Ytterbium, ytterbium, whose electron spins interact similar to the qubit system being tested as for quantum computers. To keep the ions out of equilibrium, the researchers alternately hit them with one laser to create an effective magnetic field and a second laser to partially flip the spins of the atoms, repeating the sequence many times. Because the spins interacted, the atoms settled into a stable, repetitive pattern of spin, flipping that defines the crystal, which means this is not normal crystal. Normal crystals are called equilibrium matter, okay? Equilibrium matter. That's like metal, crystal. This is a new, let me read this. Time crystals repeat, let's say kick periodically, like it's sort of tap. Okay. Time crystals repeat in time because they are kicked periodically, sort of like tapping Jell-O repeatedly to get it to jiggle. The big breakthrough, he argues, is less that these particular crystals repeat in time, that they are the first of a large class of new materials that are intrinsically out of equilibrium, unable to settle down to a motionless equilibrium, for example, a diamond or a ruby. Quote, this is a new phase of matter, period, but it is also really cool because it is one of the first examples of non-equilibrium matter, end quote.
So can you elaborate that on a simpler
I have
level?
no idea what the hell he's talking about.
You know why it's a big deal, though, right? Why the time crystal's a big deal.
Why?
What's the supercomputing? Quantum computing.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. From what I read in this article is this will allow us to make, I've got the other one. Sorry. That's a different one, but it will allow us to make truly 100% efficient conductors.
Really?
Yeah. So, right now,
gold and silver and all that stuff.
Solar Right now, the highest efficiency solar panel you can get is like 13%.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh, really?
It's horrible.
Wow.
So then you're saying
imagine
100%?
100% solar. Like every photon of light that hits it gets turned 100% into energy.
Then that would change everything.
It would change everything. Solar would be the way to go because the crystals would be 100% efficient.
Wow.
That was the other big breakthrough we had in mechanical engineering was metallic hydrogen. For the first time in 2017, scientists at let me see if I can find this one.
Metallic hydrogen.
Metallic hydrogen. Yeah. Hang on.
So they somehow merged.
What?
For the hydrogen, they somehow put a metallic ion in it?
They have for the first time turned hydrogen, which is a gas in its natural state,
right,
and a liquid at sub-freezing temperatures, into a metal.
Dude.
It is 100% efficient conductor. And it will, like right now we have high-speed rail.
Yeah.
Imagine a 100% efficient conductor, because we're looking for superconductors.
Right.
And we usually have to super freeze our conductors to get them to the superconductive level. Not with metallic hydrogen. Metallic hydrogen is here's my problem though. Isn't hydrogen excruciatingly volatile?
Yes. It can explode. I mean,
Pretty sure the Hindenburg was full of hydrogen.
Right. Well, they claim they've fixed all that because now you've got hydrogen cars from Toyota,
and these are inert. The metals are inert. So
they're relaunching the actual blimp projects too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, they've come up with an inert version of hydrogen. So this metallic hydrogen, which is huge.
Yeah.
This is a huge breakthrough in mechanical engineering.
It sounds awesome. Both of them sound awesome.
So moving on with our 2017 year in review, we have time crystals, metallic hydrogen, and for the first time in human history, artificial intelligence has grown to such an extent that we now have computers that are learning to speak in their own languages.
Which is scary.
Yes. Create music in their own languages.
Really?
And also obstacle avoidance. Did you see where the floppy little guys are running around on screen? And the AI is actually moving that doll person around to get over complex obstacles. So the AI is learning how to walk and then how to move around obstacles. And, of course, when you watch the video, it shows them their arms flopping all over the place and because the computer's getting all this data real fast. We have had advances in artificial intelligence this year that are astounding.
Hopefully it won't be like iRobot.
And look at robotics. We now have robotics that are, because we used to have tethered robots. Yeah. Now we have bipedal, non-tethered robots that can do backflips. Yep. Raise your hand if you can do a backflip.
I can't anymore.
I can't. I can't do a standing backflip, but we have robots that can.
Did you see that?
They have now. They've now circumvented. They've now come. They have. It is now advanced beyond my brain and capability.
Yeah,
Skynet.
The entire robotics industry had its biggest year this year because of the sex robots. But did you see that they had to return them?
No, I didn't see the sex robots.
Yeah, excuse me. It was a huge thing where they had to return all of the robots because the robots were malfunctioning during
too much grip.
It was believe it or not, the people that bought them were getting violent with them.
What?
Yeah, they were getting violent with them, and they broke them basically, and they took them back.
I don't understand that.
Well, think about it. If you're getting a sex robot, you probably haven't had real sex with a woman in a while. So there's a lot of pent up aggression, I should say. And yeah, they didn't see it as a human, so
that's not.
Yep, and it was
that's all kinds of twisted.
Yeah, and they're paying like $35,000 for these robots, so
and just to break it.
Yeah, but both of those, the crystal and the hydrogen, were both of those American conceived things.
Yeah.
Sweet, because they've been giving us crap about our science projects not being anything anymore.
Also, some other tech. Of course, today, Earl and George, last show of the year, 2017 year in review. We are in kind of a sciencey discussion here with the creation of the time crystal
and that hydrogen. Man, that hydrogen's
and
got
the
my brain.
metallic hydrogen.
Dude.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, we have grown for the first time in human history. We have artificially grown a lamb.
Yeah, that was
in an artificial womb. We have created an artificial womb. Now, this has medical applications for premature babies.
Right.
We can then put them back in the womb in a plastic freaking bag.
I just had a premature baby, so I was like,
how,
yeah,
dude?
It was, but then I've got my moral conflicts too, so it's kind of like, are we playing God now? So,
well, when have we not been playing God?
Well, that's exactly, but
Well, how far off is cloning?
They've already done cloning.
Yeah, we've been cloning.
No, human cloning.
Yeah.
Because we can now, we've had advances, and I was looking at some of the things to talk about today, some of the advances in medical technology where we're now growing organs. Now, we've been growing
3D printing and stuff.
We've been growing human organs in pigs for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we know we can do that.
Wasn't there something?
Now they're lab creating organs and things in the lab, not even in a pig anymore.
Right.
Can't you, wasn't there some kind of organic bio 3D printing where they could actually print a heart or something?
He had brought that up about they were 3D printing body parts or skin.
When I had all my liver issues, they told me that I could get a 3D printed liver if I had to.
What?
Yeah. They told me if my liver gave out, that my options wouldn't necessarily be liver transplant, that I would actually be able to get a new liver if I went to this program in Texas that does 3D printing of organs. They can do hearts and livers out there. So
no.
Yeah.
Now, how do you 3D print a living organism?
I have no idea.
How do you print the cell?
That's what I didn't even want to look into it because it was like, really? It's a
I'm scared of acupuncture. I'm not putting a 3D printed liver in my body. I can't even. We can't create a cell.
Right. I don't know how it is, but
we can't create a living cell. We can't do it.
It's still a trial program, but they said that I could get in on it.
Wait a minute. I'm just thinking medically here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we do not, as human beings, have the medical capacity to create a living cell. We do not.
We don't.
We have to harvest that cell from something else and then grow it into, if you could get a stem cell and grow it into a liver, I get that. How are you printing a living cell? Isn't the liver made up of living cells?
It was San Diego. San Diego 3D printed the liver tissue.
How do you print a living cell? I don't understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I haven't looked into it enough to tell you.
Isn't the liver made of living cells?
Yes. It's completely.
It's not dead cells.
No. In fact, when it starts dying is when you have the problem, like the scar tissue and everything.
So how do they print the tissue?
I have no idea. Didn't look into it, so I couldn't
what
tell
the
you.
hell? Wow.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
That's freaking me out right there. I mean, it's bad enough we can now grow a human in a plastic bag, right?
Right.
We are one step away. By the way, that we were lacking that in human cloning. We don't need a mom anymore. Think about this for a second. We've had in vitro fertilization for a long time in this country.
Right.
Right. And in fact, I think in 2016 was the longest frozen embryo born in the United States. Was it 20-something years? The embryo was frozen. 23 years, I think.
And it was given to a lady that was in her 20s.
And
she was actually younger than the embryo.
She was younger than the embryo, and she gave birth to a baby.
A healthy baby, yeah.
And we've had that. Okay. Well, now we don't even need the mom.
Right.
We can, in a lab, fertilize the egg with a donor sperm, and then and watch the zygote, the cells split apart, multiply, and grow that in an artificial womb.
That's more,
no placenta.
That's more Matrix than
Skynet.
Skynet.
That's the next step to human cloning.
Yep.
That's the next step. I'm telling you, I'm freaking out now, guys. I don't know why. I don't know why all of a sudden I went down this road. I thought these were cool medical advances, and he's like, and I forgot about that in vitro fertilization one.
Yep.
With the 26-year-old embryo.
Well, think about it. By the time I get to be your age, or even 70,
that's going to be a while.
But think about how much difference it's going to be. How many bizarre things are going to happen. It's going to be an odd future.
You don't stop smoking, you may not live to.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Let's talk about that on the air for the next 5 minutes, because that's what we got in this hour.
Hey, that's why, dude, I stopped as soon as I had a kid because of that reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
But but real quick, back to the AI, the artificial intelligence. Did you read the article where Facebook was the one that was pioneering a lot of it, and they shut the program down? Like they super fried the artificial intelligence because they started talking.
It freaked them out, and they started talking to each other, and we didn't know what
the people coming in the room.
Well, at first we didn't know what they were saying.
Right.
They had two artificial intelligent computers, and they just let them do their thing. And they started communicating with each other, and the scientists watching didn't know what they were saying.
Yeah, and it scared them, so they fried it.
They burned both of them.
But I brought up the California university that's doing the liver, and they zoomed in on what the cells look like for the liver, and it is somehow 3D printed. Yeah. It's pretty weird. It's cool, but at the same time, me being Catholic and the whole sanctity of life and everything, they promised the Catholic Church back in, I think, the mid-'90s, early 90s, when they first started doing cloning of animals for food, that they would never advance to human cloning, because the Catholic Church was very, they were, for some reason, they were the ones that were the supreme answer to if they were going to allow it to happen or not in the country. I don't remember because I was too young, but I remember it being a big deal in the church. And then they said that they weren't going to do human cloning, and now we've pretty much advanced to the stage where they're doing human cloning. Also in 2017, it was the first year that the United States allowed for gene therapy. We have now gone in 2017. Here's the quote: "Absolute watershed for the whole concept of gene therapy. They have gone into a living human being and altered the genetic structure of the human being." I thought they were able to do that. Not in the United States. This was the first year they allowed it in the United States. You're gene talking therapy. You're talking like if the mom wanted to have a boy, they could alter it to be a boy, right? No, I'm talking about if you are sick, they go into your genes and change you. Oh, wow. Yeah, they alter your DNA. Like if I had cancer. In you. Yeah. Oh, dude. Not your kid. Dude. In your cells right now, they can change your DNA. That's frightening.
And even, I guess, OCD and all that stuff could be very plausible to fix, too, like that.
Yeah. Man, you're just going to have to rock me to sleep. This is another episode where you just, yeah. Thanks, George. I'm not going to sleep for a decade. 2017 was also the year that you're still going. We found the possible closest planet to our solar system. Yes. That could support life. It is a Earth-sized planet orbiting a small star 40 light years away. So that'll be one of the first. That's the one they nicknamed Earth 2, right? I believe like so. That. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Yep. And speaking about that, did you see where Boeing said that they were going to be the first ones to put people on Mars? And they said they would do it quicker than Elon Musk. And Elon Musk said, "No, you're not." And they said, "There's now a space race to get to Mars." They said, "Challenge accepted," and he said, "Bring it." Yeah. But he also said he was going to launch one of his cars into orbit around Mars, which is my kind of crazy cool. Right. That's when because he's got to test the payload, and that's the only way to really test. Speaking of Elon Musk, SpaceX this year was the first year that a totally recycled rocket was used, which is the Falcon 9, which takes off and lands itself. They've been using those boosters for a couple of years. Right. So this year was the first year that they reused the capsule as well. Huh. Saved $18 million a launch. And then people were jumping all over Elon, telling him, for you to be so, concerned about the Earth, you sure are polluting it with your missiles. And he was quick to come back to tell him, if I advance this to where I want to, the pollution will be gone, and we'll be able to get to a point where we don't have to use fuel for the rockets. Yeah. And that's going to be awesome. Yeah. But being able to reuse it is huge too. So we're going to come back and talk more about rockets when we come back next hour. It's a 2017 year in review. This has been a smashing year for science. Yeah. It's been a horrible year for politics and the Constitution of the United States under attack. But when we come back, we'll talk about a different kind of attack. It still has to do with rocket fuel. Huh. Yeah, that's right. We're going to talk about all of the North Korean news for 2017 man. When we come back on Earl and George for hour number 2. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Two old guys that ain't taking their crap no more. You're listening to Earl and George. By the way, George is the cute one.
Uh-huh. Hear about Dr. Phil and giving out heroin or whatever? Good Lord.
And alcohol, just to get people to come to a show.
We might have to pull that public service announcement from Dr. Phil. Or do we? Just let it ride.
Let the market decide.
Let the market decide.
Well, he lost his license for supposedly sexually assaulting somebody, too.
Oh,
so.
really?
Yeah, he was a psychiatrist or psychologist, one of those, and he supposedly sexually assaulted one of them when they were under his hypnosis care.
I mean, let's be honest. Raise your hand if you had a woman in your office and they were under hypnosis, totally defenseless. You'd assault them too.
No,
I mean, come on.
No,
I mean, you all would. Everybody would.
Oh no.
Pussy hats are still on sale. Just want to say that. It's Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. I am George. It's my friend Earl.
Howdy.
Mr. Producer's in the fishbowl in there. Hour number 2. This is our year in review, the last year of 2017. And next year, hopefully, we'll be growing a little bit. And we'll be able to do more show. We'll have a full year under our belt.
Yep.
We just talked about some science and tech news. Facial recognition, I think, got brought up off the air earlier.
Which is interesting because they've had facial recognition at the border for decades.
Yeah, I mean, when I go to an airport, they've got my retina scan and my thumbprint and all this other stuff, but now it's facial recognition. It's very like Minority Report where they flash your eyes and then they target the ads. You know, how have you done, Mr. George?
Yeah.
Would you like a new pair of pants? Looks like you've lost weight,
Which,
Mr. Earl.
You know that's what they're going to do.
Absolutely, that's what they're going to do.
Capitalism, baby.
Also in the news, we just talked about rockets and SpaceX and going to Mars. And how soon are we going to Mars, do you think?
I think he said 2020 is his goal.
2020.
2020. And you know there's another company that actually is planning to be there, I think, by 2024 or something like that. They may have moved it up with his whole thing, with Musk's whole thing. But theirs was a one-way ticket. Like, they actually want to set a colony up on Mars.
Yeah.
And they've got all the funding that they need to get.
And that is the something project. I can't remember what it's called. I just own stock in SpaceX. And when it was still a publicly traded company. And,
right.
And then Elon Musk bought it, and we lost all of our stock. Just like that. Like he took it private again. Way to go, Elon. So also in the news in 2017 was North Korea. And if we could pull up the North Korean TV report, when North Korea launches a missile, it's a big deal in North Korea.
Yep.
And there's a great picture of the supreme leader sitting at a desk on a runway. You seen that picture? They set up an office on the runway where he's watching the missile launch. But the most recent one was an ICBM that says now has the capability of reaching mainland. Here's the TV report.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사 성공. 12월 10일 평안북도 철산군 소해 위성 발사장에서
So apparently, here's the deal. The North Koreans, the Rocket Man, okay, Kim Jong-un, who's certifiably crazy.
Yeah.
The dude's crazy.
His whole lineage is crazy.
The whole lineage is crazy. His wife's pretty good looking. I mean, I give him that. But then again, he's got 500 mistresses, and he's a dictator of a small country the size of Pennsylvania. But he's got a million people in his army.
Is it a million?
He's a million.
Huh.
No, is it more?
I thought it was.
No, I think it's. Hang on.
Or is it China that's got more?
Oh, China's got 1 billion.
Yeah, it's China that I'm thinking of.
Let's see, North Korean army.
I looked up that picture of him on the runway, and they're feeling pretty confident to have their leader out on the runway. That missile
watching the missile,
it could have easily turned left, and they could have said, "Hey, that was an accident." Why didn't the CIA? Never mind. I'm not going down there.
I know, right? Right? I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, dude, he's on the tarmac at the missile launch thing. Because if we have a preemptive strike while they're doing a missile test, and he's 200 feet away,
right,
blow everything up within a 5-mile radius, nothing lives, and we're done.
Because all of his generals are there, too. So
exactly. The entire cabinet's there. The only one that's going to survive is a microbe, and it might become North Korean eventually. So they launched this ICBM, and it went, not only did it escape, our atmosphere.
Right.
But it was like so far out into space that it can now just hover and wait for America. It can hit anywhere on the planet.
Yep.
And what they were testing was not only the ability to shoot the missile up and out, but also the reentry vehicle. That was really the test that they wanted to do. They've been able to shoot a missile up into space, and that's fine. What was it? 120 miles is how high the International Space Station circles the Earth. This one went 2,300 miles up into space. I mean, that's how far this thing went up, and that's still, by the way, in Earth's orbit.
Yeah,
the 2,000 miles, and when at 120 miles is where the space station is. So this thing really went out there, and that's when the United States was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. But it really wasn't that they were testing. What they were testing was the reentry vehicle. The reentry vehicle is what carries the nuclear warhead. We know that they have a nuclear warhead of about 1 megaton.
I think.
And I think they've got 6 or 7 of them. But we have 100 megaton nuclear warheads. They have 1 to 5, I think, megatons. But they didn't have a reliable entry vehicle to get that nuclear warhead, that payload, onto the target. Did you find it?
They estimate that it's between 50 and 60
kilotons. Kilotons. So they don't even have a megaton yet.
Right.
They've got a kiloton. Okay. By the way, a kiloton is 100 tons. A megaton is 1,000 tons.
Right.
So we have a 100 megaton bomb. They have a 50 kiloton nuclear warhead, that's still devastating. It's a 50 kiloton nuclear warhead. And by the way, that measurement is sticks of dynamite.
Yeah.
That's it's pounds of TNT or something like that. The tonnage is the amount of destructive force equal to so much dynamite. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah. So when we have 100 megatons of dynamite destructive force, what was the bomb dropped on Nagasaki?
I don't know. Look it up.
Yeah, look it up real quick. And we know how devastating that was. And our weapons, and by the way, that was a hydrogen. We now have thermonuclear.
Yeah.
Which is totally different. North Korea now has the ability to launch a nuclear warhead thousands of miles into space, reliably bring that warhead back into the atmosphere, because that's the hard part, and hit its target anywhere on the planet. Now, when you talk about a 2017 year in review, we finally have an administration that is dealing with the frickin' problem. And that's really what I wanted to focus on is all of the administrations previously basically did nothing but kowtow to the Chinese and the Russians. And now we've got a president and administration that's like, no, we're going to take that dude out.
Right. And I mean, like I said, off air, Clinton's the one that gave us this whole problem to begin with. It was a 64 kiloton.
64 kiloton.
Yeah.
So right now, North Korea has approximately the same destructive power as the bomb we dropped in 1946.
Yep.
46?
Yep.
48. 46.
It exploded with an energy of approximately 15 kilotons of TNT.
Because it airbursted.
Yeah.
It didn't actually hit the ground.
It contained 64 kilotons of enriched uranium.
Wow. Of destructive power.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 64 kilotons of uranium is 64 kilotons.
That was little boy. That was
little boy. Boy. So we had two. We had little boy and fat boy.
Yep.
Little boy, fat boy. And those were so basically right now North Korea has the same destructive power that we dropped on the city of Nagasaki.
Yep.
Imagine that hitting DC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that their guidance system in North Korea, and this is just George talking, I don't think North Korea has a guidance system that is accurate enough to pinpoint that and say, I want to hit the White House. I don't think they have that. Also, we have anti-missile technology. I don't think that missile's getting anywhere close to our country.
Well, the one in Russia, which would be one of the ones that would help, is the one that's been the contested. Russia's hated it being there since we put it there, and they've been demanding that we remove it, even though it's a sovereign country in Georgia, I think is where it is. And they said they don't like it there; they want it gone. They've constantly gone to the UN to tell them to remove it.
Do we reliably have a deterrent against an intercontinental ballistic missile?
They tested it in Alaska.
Yes.
And it hit its target.
I think it's like 80% effective or something.
Because it missed it twice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I mean, I'm good with 80%.
I don't live in Washington, D.C., so I'm good with 80%. I seriously doubt Kim Jong-un's like, blow up Birmingham immediately.
Well, at
I
one point,
want that wiped off the face of the earth.
At one point, we had all of the missiles for destruction at what's that base?
Anniston Army Depot.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff.
At the
If they'd have hit
well, I don't think we had the missiles. The Anniston Army Depot is a chemical incinerator.
Yeah, it was the chemicals that they had there. Yeah, but still.
So we had all the sarin gas
and
all the Zyklon B.
If you hit the CDC, that's going to screw up some stuff too. So.
Yeah, but I mean, but if he's going to attack us, he's going to either hit D.C. or New York.
And who's giving him the technology? North Korea.
It's the Russians. It's the Russians, and we'll talk about that when we come back because a news story came out last week. Even though the UN just filed new sanctions against them,
and the whole world agreed,
and the entire world agreed. Guess who's still getting fuel for their weapons programs? North Korea. And where are they getting it from? We'll tell you. He told you half of it. I'll tell you the rest when we come back. It's Earl and George, Age Conservative Talk.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn earrings today.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Michaela's got like the best earrings.
Sarah, buckle up.
I wish my name was Michaela.
We're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
It can be tough getting through to kids, but it's your job to make sure they're wearing your seatbelts. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Mama always said God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. You're listening to Earl and George.
2017 Year in Review, the last show of the year. It's Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. We'll get back to North Korea here in just a second. First up, the 10 most mispronounced words of 2017. Mr. Producer, do you have one?
No.
No is not one of them. Bokeh. Bokeh. B-O-K-E-H. Bokeh. Bokeh.
What is that?
A word that refers to the out-of-focus areas of a photograph. It's actually a Japanese word in origin.
Who the hell's saying that?
I don't know. Here's another one. Coulrophobia. Coulrophobia. Coulrophobia.
That's another phobia.
Fear of clowns. This was the year of the fear of clowns. The coulrophobia.
That's because of it.
Yep. These are the top 10 mispronounced words for 2017. Daughtered. Daughtered.
I don't know any of these words.
Most commonly used to reference an elderly person considered weak or senile. Daughtered. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un used the word to refer to President Trump in September. Daughtered.
How does he know it?
Fibromyalgia.
Oh, well, yeah, I can see people mispronouncing that.
But why is fibromyalgia one of the top 10 mispronounced words? Why are people saying fibromyalgia so much?
Because people have it.
Musculoskeletal disease, illness that causes severe pain across the body. In September, Lady Gaga tweeted that she suffers from the illness fibromyalgia. Namibia.
I don't know it.
President Trump mistakenly called it Nambia during a speech to the United Nations. Namibia is a Southwest African nation that President Trump called Nambia, which doesn't exist. This one always is on the list of the top 10 words mispronounced. It is nuclear.
Yeah.
People pronounce it nuclear, which is something totally different.
Or nuclear, like
nuclear.
President
Bush. Here's another one. This one specifically for 2017. Puerto Rico. Mispronounced.
Puerto Rico.
It's properly pronounced Puerto Rico with a W, kind of Puerto. People say Porto. Pyongyang is on the list of the top 10.
I can never say that
Pyongyang. Weinstein. Top 10 list of most pronounced.
Wow.
Yeah, 84 women have so far accused Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein of inappropriate to criminal behavior ranging from requests for massages to intimidating sexual advances to rape. Weinstein has denied the allegations. According to Babel, some linguists argue that his name should rhyme with Einstein. It's Einstein. Einstein. Yep, because when an E and I go walking, the second vowel does the talking. So Einstein, E-I, Stein, right? But it's I-E is een. But people say Weinstein, even though his name should be Weinstein. They're exactly correct. It's Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein is his name. Here's the one that always gets me, the star of Wonder Woman, the last one on the top 10 most mispronounced words.
She's kind of hot.
I've heard how she said it, and now I can't remember.
Most people pronounce it with a
Gadot.
silent T. They say
Gadot.
Gal Gadot, and her actual name is Gal Gadot.
Yeah, Gadot.
Yep.
I'll take that back. She is hot.
She is amazingly beautiful, and I like her simply because she served in the Israeli Defense Force prior to becoming
That's pretty awesome.
Well, it's
an
not
actor.
like she had a choice.
No, she didn't, because she's Israeli, and by the way, she still serves. Everybody serves
Yes.
for what? Top 10 most mispronounced words of 2017. It's our year in review for Earl and George. We just got done talking about North Korea, and even though Earl is a gigantic Nikki Haley fan in the
Yes.
United Nations, so am I. She's showing the world what a strong American woman looks like, and she hasn't taken any
Indeed.
crap from anybody, and I love it. Just last week, the United Nations, 100% of the Security Council agreed for new sanctions against North Korea, and immediately in international waters, Russian ships started lining up with North Korean vessels to transfer fuel.
But Russia claims they don't know who did
Russia claims they don't know who it is in their Russian ships.
it. Right.
Somebody in Russia is fueling the North Korean war machine.
But it's not Russia.
But it's not,
They want
right.
you to know it's not Russia. If you believe that, I've got some land for you.
Now, switching gears. Military. From a military standpoint, the 2017 was a very good year.
Yes, it was.
And there is one person that I would like to thank to why the military has turned a corner in its fight against ISIS and Al Qaeda and Boko Haram and Hezbollah and all of the other the evil Muslim extremists in the world.
Let me guess who it is. Is it President Obama?
President Donald J. Trump, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
And here's why. Under the Obama administration, which I served, I was privy to, just like every other serviceman, the rules of engagement.
Yep.
The rules of engagement under the Obama administration and what's called the SOFA, Status of Forces Agreement between the countries that we go into, tied our hands.
Yep.
The United States military is not a nation-building force. The United States military is not some powder puff football league that we go out there and push people around. Our job is to kill people, break things, and win frickin' wars. And Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, has loosed the hands of military commanders in the field. And guess what?
We're winning.
We are kicking their ass. We are kicking their Mongolian wild ass all over Syria, Iraq, Pakistan. We are finally doing it. Military commanders on the ground, not sitting in Washington in a war room watching a television, Obama and Hillary.
Right.
The military commanders on the ground can make choices that get the job done. And more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, save American lives.
Yep.
Period. And there is one person, okay, maybe two, Mattis, doing a really good job. But there's one person that I want to point out, and that's President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Now, I sound like a fanboy right now, okay? And I'm going to find things that he's doing wrong. We talk about it all the time, okay? He's not the golden boy, regardless of his hair color.
Or his skin color.
But what he's done with the military and the fight against ISIS, you cannot, there is nobody in this country that can say he did it wrong. They can say it, but they have no evidence to back it up.
But there are people in the country that are taking credit for it.
Like Obama.
Yep.
Like former President Obama, who is out there saying that all of the things President Trump is doing are because of Obama administration policies that he put in place.
Yep.
Just like our economy. He's out there saying the reason our economy is doing so well, the reason the stock market's doing so well, the reason the job market's doing so well, the reason the housing market's doing so well is all because of me. All because of Obama-era policies that he put in place. And he's the one saying it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but wasn't our embassy attacked under President Obama?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Keep going.
That's the one off the top of my head. There was there were a lot of resorts that were attacked too.
Can we go way back? Well, I mean, just guys, we got to go way back in the past, way back to the beginning of the Obama administration.
Was it the ship?
Now, who claimed responsibility for all of the things at the beginning of the Obama administration? For the first 4 years almost, for the first entire term of the presidency of Obama, he said the reason things suck so bad is because of the guy before him.
Yep, President Bush. He blamed it all
He
on him.
blamed everything on President Bush. He took responsibility for nothing for 4 years. Now, 8 years later, he wants to take responsibility for everything that's going right.
When in reality, if everything in the first 4 years was President Bush's fault, then Obama only had 4 years, so there's no way he did anything.
And we can turn around and do the same thing. Everything that's going wrong right now, like racial tension, well, that's all Obama's fault. Why can't we do the same thing?
There's actually some evidence to back that up.
Exactly. That was my whole point. But Obama is now on this world tour of America's great, and his first world tour on his own administration was America sucks. Now he's out there saying America's great. It's because I did it.
Yeah, his wife famously said that she wasn't happy or she wasn't proud of her country until her husband was elected.
And now he's out there saying that the reason the economy's so good, not because Trump is draining the swamp, not because he's gotten rid of 22 regulations to every one new regulation the government has put into place in the last year.
Right.
That has nothing to do with it, apparently. Not that he's forcing American business to come back. Not that he finally got a tax bill that lowers the corporate rate and everybody's individual rate and doubled their deductions. They finally got that through Congress. Not that he's put into place all of these executive orders that basically have undone all of the Obama-era regulations. No. We're in such a good position right now, and people are starting to have more of their money in their paycheck, and people are starting to work more, and it's easier to find a job, is because of Obama?
Who had the largest unemployment in the history of the country.
The slowest recovery in the history of the country.
Yep.
And Trump comes in, and yes, it took him a year, but they passed the fourth largest tax cut in American history last Friday.
Yep.
They signed it into law last Friday. Now, here's what's going to happen in 2018. Let me make a prediction. We are all going to have more money in our paychecks. I don't care who you are.
You're damn right.
I don't care who you are. If you work for a living, not if you're a millionaire and live off your capital gains, but if you have a job, you will have more money in your paycheck. And in November, when it comes time to say, wow, I got more money in my paycheck, America, you need to remember who the freak made that happen.
Right.
Because if you're out there screaming about racism and screaming about all this other stuff, you need to remember that it was a conservative Congress and a conservative president that literally put that money in your hands, not Obama.
Yep.
You know that Michelle is eyeing a political run now.
Oh, great. What are they saying she's running for?
Oh, I don't know. She'll run for president. She'll go right to the top. That's what they'll do. The Democrats, that's what they're going to run.
Right.
When you have, let's look at, we can't go back to 2016 and talk about rigging elections and so on. But Hillary's out there for the entire year. She's been talking about it. She came out with a book in January of this year. Remember, it's still the last day of the year.
Right.
What happened?
Yeah.
You think she wrote that book before she was even, they ghostwrite it, obviously.
Yeah.
That book was already written. It was kind of like Super Bowl jerseys.
Right.
Right. They print both sides and then they shred what doing.
Or they send them to other countries.
But I want to give credit. I want to give credit where credit is due. President Donald J. Trump unleashing the military of the United States to do its job, to go out there and defeat the enemies of the United States and our allies, and defeat terrorism and evil in the world, namely ISIS.
And the numbers, I like the numbers. The numbers were amazing.
Don't stop, Mr. President.
No.
Don't stop. Eliminate ISIS, make them a footnote in history, then turn your sights to Africa and Boko Haram.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Libya.
The American people will support you. 51% of us will support you.
Right.
And the other 51% are going to realize that you gave them their money back. I'm telling you, 2018 is going to be a great year to be an American conservative. We'll be right back. It's Earl and George aged conservative talk.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Mama was always right, because she said so. You're listening to Earl and George. Doggone right.
2017 Year in Review. Top 10 movies according to USA Today. I've only seen one of them.
Really?
Number 10, Spider-Man Homecoming. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Was it any good?
Yeah.
According to Brian Truitt for USA Today, picks the top 10 movies. Number 9, Wind River.
Didn't see it.
No, didn't see that one. Number 8, Mudbound.
Nope.
Nope. Number 7, Lady Bird.
No, but I wanted to see that
Number 6, I, Tonya.
one. No, wow, really? That one just came out.
Number 5, the Lego Batman movie.
Yep, I saw that.
Was it good?
Yeah.
I wanted to see that one, but I just am not 12.
Well,
so I didn't.
I've got young kids, so I get to watch it with them.
Number 4, Blade Runner 2049.
No, I didn't see that.
The loudest movie I have ever seen.
Star Wars?
No, Blade Runner 2049.
Really?
My daughter, and I'm a huge Blade Runner fan, a big cult fan of the classic. My daughter and I went to see it. We were the only ones in the movie theater, and we were deaf.
Wow.
We were sitting next to each other, and we were talking like this. What'd you think of that scene? Because it's so stinking loud.
Wow.
Number 3, Get Out.
No, I didn't see that.
Number 2, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Mm-mm.
Never even heard of that one.
Yeah.
And number 1, A Ghost Story.
Wow, really?
I haven't seen any of these. I don't really care. I don't
The 3 Billboards is about the mom or somebody's son's murdered, and she puts up billboards about who did it. Or
Sounds
something
like a good movie.
Something like that, yeah.
So there you go.
Wow, Star Wars didn't even make the list?
Nope. No.
Neither did Thor.
Maybe
And
that
Thor
guy's an
was
idiot.
huge.
Maybe that guy's just an idiot.
Thor 3 was a big
I didn't
movie.
see Ragnarok.
I did.
It was good?
Yeah,
Was
I
it
went and
loud?
watched it with my kid.
Was it loud?
It's good, though.
Go watch Blade Runner, dude. I'm telling you. You'll be deaf.
The immigrant song in it is the point that me and my son both were like, yeah, from, God, what's the band that's it's skipping me now? Led Zeppelin. When that song comes on, it's like, yeah. I digress.
How old's your son?
10.
Okay. So I took my 18-year-old daughter to see Blade Runner, so she liked it. The top Google, the most Googled of 2017. Number 10, fidget spinner.
Wow.
Number 9, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, after he died.
Number 8, Hurricane Harvey.
Huh.
Number 7, solar eclipse.
Well, yeah.
Number 6, Mayweather versus McGregor.
Oh, God.
These are the top 10 Googles. Just searches. Las Vegas shooting, number 5. Super Bowl, number 4. Tom Petty, number 3. Matt Lauer, number 2.
Wow.
And
that was quick.
Hurricane Irma. Yeah, he went number 2. And Hurricane Irma, the number 1 search on Google. This is my favorite one. The top 10 Google how-tos. Because Google will fill in. Google will fill in if you type in how-to.
Right.
Google will start filling in stuff. Top 10 for number 20 for 2017. Google how-tos. Number 10, how to screen record.
On your iPhone? That's easy.
Number 9, how to cook a turkey in an oven.
Wow. In an oven. Where else would you cook it?
Number 8, how to make a fidget spinner.
I can see
Number
it.
7, this one always gets me because this one's been around. This always makes the top 10 how-tos and has since like 1975.
Really?
Since search engines were created. How to solve a Rubik's Cube has been on the list since search engines were created. How to solve a Rubik's Cube is in the top 10 again for 2017. Number 6.
Oh, wow, it actually tells you.
Yeah, number 6, how to freeze your credit. Number 5, how to. This is top 10 how-tos. How to buy Bitcoin. I said corn.
Corn.
Number 4, how to watch Mayweather versus McGregor, because it was, remember that people wanted to watch it for free and they got busted for it. Number 3, how to watch the solar eclipse. Number 2, how to make solar eclipse glasses. And number 1 for 2017 on the Google how-to list, how to make slime.
Oh, yeah, that was huge.
That was huge.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
My kids got into that.
So let's see. Speaking of Bitcoin, let's stick with Bitcoin. 2017 was the year of, oh my gosh, what is this Bitcoin thing?
Right.
Even though Bitcoin's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I looked it up. I think it's 2009.
And my brother-in-law has been mining Bitcoin pretty much since 2009. I have no idea what it's worth. I have no idea how much money he's got. I don't know how to turn it into money. We've talked about it a little bit off the air. I don't know how it works. I know it is a hash algorithm. I know somehow it is tied to some type of currency. I don't know how that works. I don't understand Bitcoin. It is a commodity that they have turned into a currency. It's like orange juice. You can't buy things with orange juice unless the person selling the product takes orange juice as the currency. Tesla will sell you a car using Bitcoin. But then Tesla has a bunch of Bitcoin. It doesn't have any cash. I do not know. Can you in the next week figure out how to do Bitcoin for me, Mr. Producer?
So, no, my question is mining Bitcoins. Cause I just looked that
Bitcoin,
up. And
Bitcoin miner, yeah.
Yeah, it's got like little,
And it's a computer and that handles Bitcoin transactions, and you get a tiny, tiny little piece of that adds up to money somehow.
Okay. Weird.
It is the strangest thing, and I don't trust it. Didn't it lose 25% of its value last week?
Yep.
Because what was it? It's 18,000 or something. Now it's down to what? 10?
Yeah, it went down. Roughly, it went down to 10,000. Well, it went to 12, and then it went to 10.
It corrected. So it corrected 25% of its value.
It actually says that it's right now at $13,298.95.
Right, and it was at 19 last week. I would consider that a volatile market because people are buying into it because, oh my gosh, Bitcoin, we got to buy Bitcoin. Everybody buy Bitcoin. Well, guess what? The market will correct itself. Thank you, capitalism. I don't know. I don't really understand how the Bitcoin thing works. I'm still trying to figure out how it's pegged to cash, how to get your cash out of it, if you sell it as a commodity or a stock, and what stops me from stealing it. Like, I just don't understand if it's a hash algorithm, what stops me from making it?
I'm trying to find what's backing it, and nobody has.
Currency is backed by something. Confederate currency was backed by cotton futures. American currency used to be backed by gold. Now it's backed by GDP. Bitcoin is backed by what? What backs Bitcoin? Nothing. Air.
And this says, when you are buying Bitcoin, you are relying on a complicated network. What makes that network work is a regulatory algorithm. The algorithm determines the new blocks of Bitcoin will be mined approximately every 10 minutes. This sort of approach ensures that nothing can be altered, predetermined, issuance rate, nor the block size having rate of Bitcoin. In other words, every 10 minutes, more Bitcoins go in use as a disinflationary rate.
Okay.
We may consider it a mathematical guarantee, and this is what backs the Bitcoin system, and it's amazing.
So nothing.
Right.
Nothing. It has no intrinsic value whatsoever.
Gino, George.
Yeah. What?
Air is worth something because, without air we can't breathe. So I don't know if that's the best analogy. My phone's exploding. So
Bitcoin is backed by turn your mic off. Bitcoin is backed by nothing.
Right.
Right. I understand what you're saying. Air is value. I have to breathe air. I don't breathe Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no intrinsic value whatsoever, but somehow it has become a valued commodity to where you can, I believe, go on Amazon and buy crap with Bitcoin.
Yeah, they say that it's got this whole thing that is referred to as Friedman's K% rule. It stems from his idea of replacing central banking institutions with a computer capable of mathematically managing the supply of money.
So can I put Bitcoins on a thumb drive?
Yes.
Okay. So why can't think about hostage negotiation. I simply say, you're going to now give me a thumb drive with 100 million Bitcoin algorithms on it, right? Or whatever the hell it is.
Right.
And and how are you going to track that? How are you going to trace it? Every 10 minutes, they say, it changes, right? There's no way for you to track that or trace it or what have you. There's something wrong with Bitcoin. I haven't figured out what it is yet.
Yeah, it says the Bitcoin digital economy is backed by the universal construct of time.
Yes. And you can crap in one hand and wish in the other, and you'll still have a handful of crap.
Yeah, if I give you $1 million to buy Bitcoins, I want $1 million. I don't want Bitcoins.
Exactly. I want $1 million.
Wow. And people are buying this in groves.
And they're going, I'm a Bitcoin billionaire. How much money do you have? None, but I got $1 billion in Bitcoins. Well, how much money do you have? Okay. Moving on from Bitcoin. And by the way, there are 10 other cryptocurrencies. Like it's just a hash security algorithm.
Right.
We don't know who created it. They just launched it into the internet. And now other people are saying that it is something.
They claim this one guy created it. Where'd it go? Damn it. I lost it. I had it opened a minute ago. It's a Sergey something that created it.
Right. And now he's on a $100 billion yacht somewhere.
It's a group of people under the name Satoshi Nakamoto.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better.
Right. So it was a group of people that did
Shiitake mushrooms?
They're from Japan. I just looked up their group. It's an unknown people or persons or people who designed Bitcoin.
So they don't even know if it's more than one person or not.
Here, let me ask you this question. So when Anonymous comes out with a political statement, how much do you trust it?
Yeah.
Right. So when the Shiitake Mushroom Corporation comes out with Bitcoin, how much do you trust that nonsense? See what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. Moving on. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to run down some just crazy stories that happened in 2017. It's our year in review for Earl and George. Aged conservative talk. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
Welcome back to The Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk.
2017 was the year I bought a new car. I used to drive a Jag XKR, which supercharged V8 European sports car.
I got 3.
Now I drive a car that turns itself off at a freaking red light.
You know,
I hate this thing.
When you told me that, it actually made me want to reconsider the last purchase I made.
Can't stand this. I don't want an electric car. I do like the car, but I don't like the fact that it turns itself off.
I thought you
It's
that
my
was neat.
money in the tank. It's my money
Right.
in the tank. And if I want to idle it at a red light or run it at 150 miles an hour, it's my freaking money in the tank that I'm burning. But you're polluting the atmosphere. I've bought the gas. That's my freaking choice, isn't it?
Yep.
Right? I used to sit next to people in Priuses. Their car was turned off, and I'd rev the engine just to piss them off. It's my money in the tank. But now I don't have a choice. Now the car turns off for you just to save the environment and save you money. I don't need you saving my money, Ford. Thanks.
There's got to be a
Thanks,
way
Chevy.
that you can take it and get it disabled.
Yeah, buy a car that doesn't have it. Like I like the car I've got.
Right.
But I'm getting rid of that one. I'm going to buy one of the new Corvette mid-engines. I'm buying one as soon as that comes out. I'm getting into one of the new Corvettes. Yeah. I've already told my wife. I said I got to get back to a supercharged V8. I got to need a car that sounds like a damn Harley when it cranks up. I can't take this.
That's all
I have
auto-tuned
I have a
now.
1.5 liter engine in this piece of crap.
Seriously?
It's terrible, man. I hate this. Now, granted, I get 40 miles a gallon. and it turns off at every red light. But man, it's annoying.
But I was telling you that the Mercedes does that too, because that drove me crazy. The CL.
You bought 3 cars this year, didn't you?
Well,
did you get your Lincoln?
Yeah.
Is it out there?
No.
When is it being delivered?
It's January 3rd, I think.
And you got the top of the line. You got the monster.
Yeah. Which I'm not looking forward to that payment.
My Jag payment was $1,200 a month.
Yeah, it's about my mortgage.
It was more than people's mortgage, yeah. But it was a supercar, and I loved it, and I want another one. And guess what, America? It's my money. My mom used to say something. She'd say, "You know how many kids your car could feed?" I'm like, "None, Mom. Kids don't eat cars."
Right.
Right? And people are like, "Well, you drive a very expensive car," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's more expensive than my house."
Right.
Have a nice day. And they're like, "Well, you 1% or blah blah blah." I'm like, "Look, what you choose to do with your money is your, whatever. I choose to roll it up and set it on fire. That's my business. It's my freaking money. I earned it."
I know a kid that
D.B.
had
Cooper.
Yeah, man, it's my money.
I know a kid that had a Corvette at 18. And you know how he got it? He was behind one of those trucks that have those barrels, and it fell off and crushed his car.
Yeah.
And he won a settlement, and people called him a millionaire, and he lived in a trailer.
So, millionaire because he had a Corvette.
Yep.
Yeah. And I live in a regular old house, but I just live in an area where, I can afford a 5-bedroom house. In California, I'd be living in a cardboard box.
Right.
Now,
don't blame us.
2017 year in review, we've talked about medical advances. We've talked about science advances. We've talked about political issues that are facing America this year. We've talked about the president and his advances. We've talked about how the Democrats can't stand the guy. We've talked all about that stuff. But I want to play this for you. This kind of sums up. This is a college professor. This kind of sums up what 2017 felt like right here.
People who paid the price, the very heavy price, for this project that is unfolding of white supremacy. So
white supremacy in America. So this is a college professor. Their screen. It's called "Violent Overthrow of the U.S. Government." A college professor talking about white supremacy in America.
In a white supremacist, patriarchal, heteronormative capitalist system.
Okay, everybody get that? A white supremacist, patriarchal, heteronormative, blah, blah, blah. Hang on.
With the fact that we exist in a white supremacist, patriarchal, heteronormative capitalist system.
Okay, Stop. Do we live in a white supremacist system?
No.
No. Do we live in a patriarchal system?
No.
I would say
it's close.
That patriarchy, right?
Right.
Is man, I'm going to go out on a limb here. That's what I have in my house.
Yeah, it's family oriented. It's not country oriented.
It's also biblically oriented. Right. I'm not being a patriarchy isn't necessarily bad as long as you're not squashing women like Saudi Arabia or every other Muslim religion.
Right.
But yet they won't say that. They're not going to say, "Oh, we live in this patriarchal society." Oh yeah, go to Tehran and do that, bro.
Right.
You will be dead in minutes. But here, being a patriarchy, even though we have very successful women and we bring women forward and we want our daughters and our wives and our sisters to be successful as any man can be, any successful as they can be, doesn't mean that a patriarchy is bad.
Nope.
Now, heteronormative. Do we live in a heteronormative society?
No.
We don't?
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like it anymore.
Isn't nature heteronormative?
It's supposed to be.
Isn't all of nature heteronormative?
It's supposed to be.
So why are human beings the only species on the planet that have homosexual relationships? Can anyone explain that to me? We are the only animal life on Earth that doesn't follow nature's laws of heteronormative behavior.
Well, they've tested dogs, and they've put 2 male dogs in the cage together, and after when the dogs are in heat, or
No, stop. Male dogs don't go in heat.
I know. I'm trying. I don't know what I can say.
Say it.
When the male dogs get horny,
yeah,
they go after each other.
But that's not a heteronormative behavior.
I know,
that is abnormal behavior.
They took it out of their
exactly. They took it.
That's the argument they always.
But
give.
That's abnormal behavior from a male dog, right?
Right.
Okay. Do we live in a capitalist society?
Yes.
Absolutely. But listen to what he's lumped it in with. He's lumped in capitalism, which, by the way, has lifted more people out of poverty and hunger than any other economic system in the history of the world.
Yep.
Capitalism is the way to bring more people out of poverty, and we have decades of proof that capitalism saves lives, brings people out of poverty, and brings wealth to people, to bring more people than any other economic system. But he lumped them all together to say that white supremacy is bad. Yeah, we agree. I don't want to live in a white supremacist society. A patriarchy, that's natural law. Heteronormative, natural law. And capitalism, the most successful economic system on the planet. And he says they're all bad because he lumped it in with white supremacy.
Thomas Jefferson, all men are created equal, yet I hold 200 slaves and I break many of them.
Stop. Yes, Thomas
Wow.
Jefferson did say all of that, and yes, he did own slaves. However, at the time, you're looking back through history through a lens of modern society.
Right.
We know that society changes over time. Do we hold slaves today? No.
Libya does.
Well, we're talking about America. a white supremacist, heteronormative, patriarchy, capitalist society. He's talking specifically about America. But he's looking back 200 years through a lens of today. If you look back 200 years, let's say England, homosexuality was illegal and they would kill you. They'd put you in prison for it. But you look back at English culture through a lens of today and we're like, that's abhorrent behavior. Yes, it was. Those slaves in Thomas Jefferson's stables were lower than horses. They were animals. They weren't even human beings.
Right.
I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but you can't use a modern construct today to look back in history and judge history based on our view of society today. Am I going to look at a black person and say they should be a slave? Of course not. Why? Slavery is abhorrent, and I'm not an evil person, and that is a human being.
Right.
That's the lens of today. That's my belief today. But he's using that today to go back and say, look at the evil white dude.
Well, and he's specifically attacking Thomas Jefferson because Thomas Jefferson is one of the founding fathers, so he's trying to make the whole thing America's bad.
And that's the beauty of the law. If you can write it, you can convince all others to follow it.
Ooh.
Wow.
If you can write
That's
the
not
law,
how the law works.
then you can convince everyone else to follow it. Really? Because to me, that sounds like a very communist, socialist ideal. The people at the top get to make the laws, and it's the little people. It is the two Roman societies. You had the one and the plebes. The plebs, they just had to follow the law, right? We are the plebs. We don't get to make the law, right? We're not the nobility. We're the commoners.
Right.
That's what he's talking about. He was then putting that onto the founding fathers who were all white slave-owning men, Christian men, creating this white supremacist, heteronormative, patriarchal society, which he says, by the way, he's a Latino guy, he says is now bad because he's looking back through history through a lens of today and how he views today's society and what it should be.
And this guy's teaching.
Yep.
Dude.
All of us do today, when we shouldn't. Many of the laws existing, we should be violating those laws.
Many of the existing laws we should be violating.
He's encouraging anarchy.
He's encouraging violence. That's exactly right.
Isn't that against the law?
Up and pledge allegiance to the flag every single day. A flag that's not really representative of everybody who's standing up in that room. Maybe that's the way it should be taught. All those who this flag represents stand up. And maybe 50% of this room, you stay sitting down because this is not.
Wow.
Okay.
So the flag of the United States
Doesn't represent
if you are a citizen
America.
if you are a citizen of the United States, the flag doesn't represent you.
Wow.
Because you are not white Christian male. Now, I don't know about you.
What blasphemy is this?
No, this is the left's mentality of division of everything. They want to set fire to a bag full of crap, ring your doorbell, and run away. Okay, but what they want to do is they want to create a class division between white supremacy. It's white people against everybody else. They divide those people instead of bringing them together. Heteronormative. It's gay people versus everybody else. It's capitalist. It's people who want to make money and earn a business and leave it to their kids against everybody else.
Yep.
And it's what was the other one?
Dude.
Heteronormative patriarchy. It's men against women. No, we're going to roll to the end. It's men against women. They want to divide everybody into very smaller groups. Why do you think they want to divide everybody, Earl?
Because it creates a class system.
Because it creates chaos.
Because it creates a situation where it's easier to control people. The smaller the group you have,
right,
the easier it is to control the group.
So it's pretty much like brainwashing.
They want to divide you into whatever you are, as small as they can get you, /American, Latino American, Black American, gay American, white American, Asian American, and then they're going to separate you even further by economic class. Then they're going to separate you even further by gender. They're going to separate you even further by gender preference. Then they're going to separate you even further by economic status. Then they're going to they keep separating. We, on the other hand, are like, really? That is the flag of our country. I don't need to pledge allegiance to the state. I'm pledging allegiance to the idea of freedom and liberty.
Right.
The flag of the United States and the country it represents. The American dream. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
Not the democracy.
Not the democracy. But they want to continuously do that. This is the year of 2017. They
do it through the Constitution, which should be called a white man's constitution.
Oh,
and
we
still
don't
get up before every ball game, and we're supposed
a white man's constitution.
Never mind the fact that the Constitution is allowing this man to talk like he's talking.
This Latino man
Right.
has the First Amendment rights as a citizen of the United States to say exactly what he's saying. I am not offended by his words, but I do have the right to counter them. This guy's an idiot.
Plus, he's employed, which is another thing. So,
and he is sitting there talking to a group of students, and they're all like sucking it up.
Right.
I talked to my daughter, she said if she ever takes biology, she's going to have to be liberal to pass the biology class because the professor fails all the conservative students.
On what grounds?
Because they're conservative. As soon as he finds out that you don't agree with him,
are you being serious?
Yes, he will fail you.
But
she even told me that they get into discussions in biology about politics and the environment and Hillary Clinton and all this other. And she looked me in the eye. She said, "Dad, when I take biology in college, at this school, this very specific school, this very specific professor," she said, "I'm going to lie to him and tell him exactly what he wants to hear so that I will pass the class." That's how afraid my conservative daughter is in college because of this one professor who has a track record of intimidation based on his liberal views. This is a Christian school. This is a private Christian college my daughter goes to, and this professor will fail you because you don't believe in evolution.
Wow. And that's a whole, it's pissing on the whole memory of what college is supposed to be anyway. It's
Opening
supposed to
the
be open.
minds and discussion, and he will fail students. And I believe that's why my younger daughter, who took this class this year, I believe she failed because she kept questioning him, and she kept coming to me saying, "Daddy said this. What do I say?" I said, "Oh, respond in kind. Respond this way."
Right.
She failed big time.
Dude.
Now,
that sucks.
This was our year in review, and I wanted to bring it back to that, okay? Because of everything that's happening.
Makes me angry, man.
Exactly. Everything that's happened in 2017, I think, can be wrapped up into two things. Number one, we have been divided, and we talk about it. We are no longer an American people. We have been divided into smaller and smaller victim groups.
I agree,
and we can't let that happen. And we also let the intimidation, the closed-minded mentality of one group of people suppress the open dialogue and freedoms of another group of people.
Mm-hmm.
You are not allowed, America, to claim your First Amendment freedom of speech in order to shut down somebody else's First Amendment freedom of speech. You can't do it. Can you walk into a movie theater and yell fire as your First Amendment right? Yes, you absolutely can. We totally agree on that. But there are also consequences to those actions. So if you pick up a baseball bat and put on a mask, Antifa, and you go out to Berkeley and you riot, you have the First Amendment right to do so and peaceably assemble. But you do not have the right to act in violence. I say the same thing to the neo-Nazis. If you want to grab your swastikas and walk down the street of South Carolina talking about Jews and blacks and gays, you're allowed to do that. You are allowed to peaceably assemble, but you are not allowed to create violence. There are laws against that, and there are repercussions for those actions. You are not allowed to tear down a statue that you believe is racist. You are not allowed to vandalize because you believe you've been wronged. You are part of the problem that has been separated into these ever smaller victim groups, and they are using you.
I think you said one of the best lines you said was, what was it? People are using civil liberties to destroy civil liberties.
Yeah, they're using the civil liberties defended in the Constitution to destroy the civil liberties in the Constitution.
Yep.
That in microcosm is 2017. Has it all been bad? No. We've had major advances. We've had major advances in politics, in economics, in society. But we have an element in our country, and I'll name them. It is the liberal socialist.
Yeah.
That is destroying and taking away all these great advances. They don't want you wealthy. They want you poor. Why? Because their centralized brains can then give you everything you need, and then you will simply give them what they want. You know what they want? Power over you. I don't want any power over you.
Which is slavery.
Exactly. Look, it comes down to real simple. Real simple. I do believe that there are conservative politicians that want to hold on to their power. Okay? Right. They're politicians. That's what they do.
Right.
But if there are good people out there that are conservatives that are trying to keep the ideals and the principles of the Constitution alive and well in 2017 America.
Ted Cruz, Mo Brooks.
Do you know why what you just did? Ted Cruz did with the tax. We didn't talk about the tax bill. We have 3 minutes. We didn't talk about the tax bill.
I didn't see what he did.
He put in the was it the 512 plan, whatever the tax savings for college. He said you can now use that for secondary school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't remember what it is. We were going to talk about it, but whatever. Ted Cruz, doing a great job. We got the Obamacare mandate repealed in the tax bill. They're giving back more of their money, the fourth largest tax cut in American history, more money in your pocket. There are people trying to do good things. The President of the United States is fighting the good fight for you. He does it badly. Right? I mean, I'll give credit. He's not the best speaker in the world, right. And I wish he would stop tweeting sometimes.
Yes.
But he's fighting the good fight. He's doing what he said he was going to do. But when you listen to Nancy Pelosi, they pass a tax bill and all hell's going to break loose. We're all going to die. Right. But when it comes to taking your money, they want to pass the bill so they can find out what's in it.
Yep.
$2,500. The average family is going to save $2,500. Bull crap. That hasn't happened yet. More people are without insurance. More people are going to be hurt. And they use everything against you. Don't be the victim, America. Stop it.
We're better than that.
Don't blame your brother for your problems.
We're better than that.
Own up for your own problems and go into 2018 with a changed mindset. Open your mind. The beginning of enlightenment, ladies and gentlemen, is the beginning and is the understanding that you could be wrong. That's not the end of wisdom. That's the beginning of wisdom. When you go out there and do your research and learn about these things that interest you, start from a standpoint that you don't know everything. Begin with a standpoint and a mindset that says, I could be wrong and I'm going to educate myself. And when you do that, you will retrain your brain. On our show this week, we've been talking about, on our other show, about retraining your brain and being grateful for the things that you have and recreating those positive synapses in your brain. And I think 2018 is the year for all of us to do that, politically, in science, economically, within your own family. You want to change our country? Change your brain and change your house. Thank you guys for listening this year. We'll be back next week. Hopefully. You're still on vacation? Yep. I don't know where the hell
I'll
I'm
be back.
It's Earl and George. Age Conservative Talk 2018 is going to be a great year. Mr. Producer, thank you so much for all the work this year. Earl,
Been a pleasure.
I have too many good things to say. I can't fill them all in one thing.
Been a pleasure,
it's a blessing to have you sitting there.
Thank you.
I'm
Same
George.
is true.
That's my man Earl.
I love you, Mama.
Go out there. You guys have a happy New Year. Be safe, and we will catch you in 2018. We'll see you next
Roll
year.
Tide.
Go out there and do something nice for someone you don't know. See you next year, everybody.